Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Thanks for having me back.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into child development.
Okay.
You've given us a ton of articles and research, really everything,
Wow.
from the history of intelligence testing to the latest on parenting styles,
That's a lot.
even some hot-button issues like abortion
Oh, wow.
and corporal punishment.
Okay.
It seems like you're ready to tackle some
Yeah.
serious questions about how these tiny humans grow and learn.
I am.
Are we talking about a big life change on the horizon,
Right.
or just deep-seated curiosity about the forces that shape who we become?
I think it's a little of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason.
Sure.
I'm excited to unravel these mysteries with you,
Great.
and of course with the help of our expert.
Absolutely.
Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. To kick things off,
Yeah.
I was struck by how many of these sources touch on those big-name developmental theories.
Okay.
Piaget, Vygotsky, Bronfenbrenner. It's like a who's who
Yeah.
of child development superstars.
Big names.
And they offer some really helpful frameworks
Absolutely.
for understanding how kids tick.
Yeah.
They really do.
It's not just about memorizing stages or models.
Right.
It's about understanding the core ideas they represent. For example, Piaget's stages.
Yeah.
They aren't just about what kids can do at certain ages.
Right.
They're about fundamental shifts in how they think.
Okay.
Like in the pre-operational stage,
Right.
a child might think there's more juice
Okay.
in a tall, skinny glass than in a short, wide one.
Okay.
Simply because the tall one looks bigger. But then, boom, they hit the concrete operational stage.
Okay.
And suddenly, they grasp the idea of conservation, that the amount of juice stays the same regardless of the shape of the container.
Oh, I see.
It's a whole new level of logical thinking.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It reminds me of how much emphasis there is in these sources on the whole. Nature versus nurture debate.
Oh, yeah.
It's the classic question.
The classic.
Are we born with certain traits?
Right.
Or are we shaped by our experiences?
Exactly.
And the answer, as always, seems to be a bit of both, right?
It is. It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fascinating how these sources explore that interplay. Like, take language acquisition.
Okay.
We're all wired for language,
Right.
but the environment plays a huge role in how we develop those skills.
I see.
A child growing up hearing only one language
Yeah,
will develop differently than a child exposed to multiple languages from birth.
that's true.
And even within a single language, the richness of a child's vocabulary is heavily influenced by the language they hear around them.
That makes sense.
Think back to your own childhood.
Okay.
Did your family use a lot of complex words? Or was it more straightforward communication?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if my early obsession with reading gave me a leg up when it came to language skills.
Maybe.
It seems like those early experiences can have a ripple effect throughout our lives.
Yeah, they can.
And speaking of early experiences, I noticed a lot of these sources delve into developmental milestones.
Right.
You know, those classic markers like walking, talking, puberty.
Yeah.
But they also seem to emphasize that there's a lot of variation in how kids develop,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
While those classic milestones provide a general roadmap,
They do.
it's important to remember that every child develops at their own pace.
Absolutely.
Some kids are early bloomers.
Yeah.
Others take their time.
Right.
And both are perfectly normal.
Yeah. For example,
Okay.
some kids might be running around at 10 months,
Wow.
while others are perfectly content to crawl until they're closer to a year old.
Okay.
There's a range of what's considered typical,
Right.
and it's crucial not to get too caught up in comparing kids to some arbitrary timeline.
So no need to panic if your toddler isn't reciting Shakespeare yet.
Exactly. Development isn't a race.
I like that.
It's about celebrating each child's unique journey and providing the support they need to thrive at their own pace.
That's a good point.
And that brings up an interesting question for you.
Okay.
Think back to your own developmental milestones.
All right.
Did you hit them right on schedule, or were you a bit ahead or behind the curve?
Okay.
Did those experiences shape how you view your own development or the development of others?
That's a great question to ponder.
It is.
It definitely makes you realize that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to child development.
It really isn't.
And speaking of diverse perspectives, these sources certainly don't shy away from
No, they don't.
those hot-button issues that always spark debate.
Okay.
Abortion, for example, is discussed in several articles,
Yeah.
providing statistics on who gets them
Sure.
and outlining the evolving legal landscape.
It's important to approach such complex and sensitive topics
It is.
with nuance and a recognition of the multitude of viewpoints that exist.
Right.
The legal battles surrounding abortion,
Yeah.
as highlighted in the Planned Parenthood v. Casey case, exemplifies the ongoing struggle to balance individual rights
Right.
with societal values.
That's a good point.
It's a topic that continues to generate passionate discussion
Yes, it does.
and calls for careful consideration of the ethical, legal, and personal implications involved.
And right alongside that, we see discussions about sex education,
Yeah.
which, like abortion,
Right.
is often fraught with controversy.
Of course.
It's fascinating to see how the goals of sex education have shifted over time from simply explaining the biological basics
Right.
to encompassing much broader aims like
Yeah.
preventing teen pregnancy,
Yeah.
STDs, and promoting healthy relationships.
Indeed, the landscape of sex education has undergone significant transformations. It's no longer just about the birds and the bees, but about empowering young people with the knowledge and skills to make informed decisions about their sexual health and well-being.
And, while we're on the topic of evolving approaches,
Sure.
I was struck by a lesser-known fact I stumbled upon in one of the articles.
Oh, really?
The connection between ear infections and language development.
Interesting.
It seems like something you wouldn't necessarily think about.
Yeah.
But it makes sense when you consider how crucial hearing is for language acquisition.
It does. It does.
It's a great example of how seemingly unrelated factors can have a significant impact on development.
For sure.
Otitis media,
Yeah.
as ear infections are technically known,
Right.
can disrupt a child's ability to hear and process language,
Yeah.
especially if it's recurrent.
Right.
This highlights the importance of early detection and treatment,
It does.
not just for the child's physical health, but for their cognitive development as well.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that child development is this intricate web of interconnected factors.
Yeah.
And sometimes the most unexpected things can have a profound impact.
That's true.
And speaking of surprising trends,
Okay.
another one that caught my eye was the rise of single fathers.
Interesting.
While single mothers still head the majority of single-parent families.
Right.
It seems like more and more dads are taking on the solo parenting role.
That's noteworthy.
It's a noteworthy shift in family dynamics.
While the challenges faced by single fathers often mirror those faced by single mothers,
Okay.
financial strain, work-life balance, emotional stress,
Yeah,
there are also unique nuances to their experiences.
I see.
The sources touch on how societal expectations and support systems can differ for single fathers, highlighting the need for greater awareness and resources tailored to their specific needs.
It definitely challenges some traditional assumptions about gender roles in parenting.
It does.
So listener, as we delve deeper into this world of child development, I'm curious to know, which of these hot-button topics resonates most strongly with you? What questions or thoughts do they spark in your mind?
Interesting.
We've got a lot more to uncover, so buckle up as we continue our exploration.
Sounds good. As we navigate these complex issues, I'm reminded of another challenge that often gets intertwined with them.
Okay.
Poverty.
Right.
The sources you've gathered paint a pretty stark picture of the impact poverty can have on a child's life.
It's heartbreaking to see those statistics on how poverty affects everything
It is.
from a child's health and nutrition to their educational opportunities and even their future prospects.
It's true.
It really highlights the importance of addressing those systemic issues that create and perpetuate poverty.
Absolutely.
Poverty creates a cycle that can be incredibly difficult to break. Children growing up in poverty are often exposed to multiple stressors. Food insecurity, unstable housing, limited access to health care.
All those things.
All of which can impact their development in profound ways.
They do.
And these challenges don't just disappear when a child enters school.
No, they don't.
They can carry over into the classroom,
Right.
affecting their ability to learn, their social emotional development, and even their long-term academic success.
It makes you realize that education isn't just about what happens inside those school walls.
Right.
It's about creating a supportive environment that addresses the whole child and their unique needs.
And that brings to mind another topic that several of these sources touch on.
Okay.
Divorce and its impact on children.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough subject.
Yeah.
But it's important to acknowledge how family structure can shape a child's development.
It certainly is.
The sources provide a fascinating glimpse into the historical shifts in custody law.
Yeah.
Moving from a strong paternal preference to a more mother-centric approach, and finally landing on the current focus on the best interests of the child.
Right.
But as these sources point out,
Yeah.
determining what's truly in a child's best interest
Yes.
can be incredibly complex.
Absolutely.
It's not always a clear-cut decision,
No.
especially when you consider the emotional toll that divorce can take on everyone involved.
Of course.
The sources even mention split custody arrangements.
Oh, wow.
Where siblings are separated between parents.
Yeah.
Which raises a whole host of questions about how that impacts their development and their sibling bonds.
It's definitely an area where more research is needed to understand the long-term consequences of different custody arrangements.
And, while we're talking about challenging family situations, another topic that comes up frequently in these sources is substance abuse and its ripple effects on children.
It's a tough subject to grapple with.
It is.
But it's essential to address.
It's not just about teens experimenting with drugs.
Right.
It's about understanding the broader context, the social and psychological factors that contribute to substance abuse, and the devastating impact it can have on families.
Right.
I was particularly struck by the discussion of gateway drugs.
Oh, really?
How substances like cigarettes and alcohol can sometimes pave the way for more serious drug use later on.
That's a crucial point.
Understanding the progression of substance use
Yes.
and recognizing those early warning signs is key to prevention and intervention.
Absolutely.
The sources also highlight how trends in substance use have shifted over time.
They have.
Reflecting changes in societal attitudes, availability of drugs, and even cultural norms.
Yeah. For example, marijuana use, which peaked in the 1970s, declined for a while, then surged again in recent years.
Oh, wow.
Reflecting changing perceptions and legalization efforts.
Oh. It's a dynamic landscape that requires ongoing attention. And a nuanced understanding of the factors at play.
Right.
It makes you realize that addressing substance abuse isn't just about cracking down on drugs. It's about understanding the root causes and providing support systems that help individuals and families make healthier choices.
And speaking of often hidden struggles, another theme that emerges strongly from these sources is the importance of mental health in child development.
Absolutely.
The sources delve into conditions like ADHD and conduct disorder, shedding light on the challenges of diagnosis and the critical need for early intervention.
What's fascinating is how our understanding of these conditions has evolved over time.
It has.
Moving away from simplistic explanation to a more nuanced recognition of the complex interplay of biological, genetic, and environmental factors.
It's a reminder that mental health is just as important as physical health.
I agree.
And that seeking help and support is a sign of strength, not weakness.
So, listener, as we navigate these often difficult topics, I invite you to reflect on your own experiences.
Okay.
Think about the challenges you faced as a child, whether it was poverty, family upheaval, or personal struggles.
Right.
How did those experiences shape who you are today?
That's a good question.
And what resources or support systems helped you navigate those tough times?
Those reflections can offer valuable insights into the resilience of the human spirit.
I like that.
And the profound impact that even seemingly small interventions can have on a child's trajectory.
And speaking of interventions, I'm encouraged by the variety of approaches these sources highlight.
Me too.
From early intervention programs designed to support at-risk children to the transformative power of therapy.
It's inspiring to see those efforts to level the playing field.
I agree.
And provide children with the tools they need to thrive.
Early intervention programs like Head Start, for example, aim to provide comprehensive support to children from low-income families. Addressing their cognitive, social, emotional, and physical needs. It's about recognizing that early experiences lay the foundation for future success.
They do.
And intervening early can make a world of difference.
And let's not underestimate the role of therapy.
Right.
In supporting children and families through challenging times.
Whether it's individual therapy to help a child cope with anxiety or depression, or family therapy to improve communication and strengthen relationships, these interventions can provide invaluable tools for navigating life's ups and downs.
They can.
What's particularly striking is the shift towards more holistic approaches that recognize the interconnectedness of a child's mental, emotional, and physical well-being.
It's about treating the whole child,
Right.
not just addressing symptoms in isolation.
And speaking of holistic approaches, these sources also emphasize the crucial role that parents play in supporting their children's development.
Absolutely.
It's not about being perfect parents.
Right.
Let's face it, who is?
No, what?
But about providing a loving, supportive environment that fosters growth and resilience.
Exactly.
The sources delve into various parenting styles.
They do.
From authoritarian to permissive.
Right.
Highlighting how different approaches can shape a child's behavior, self-esteem, and social skills.
What's fascinating is that there's no one right way to parent.
I know.
What works for one child or family might not work for another.
It's about finding a style that feels authentic.
It is.
And responsive to your child's individual needs and temperament.
Absolutely.
It's about being attuned to your child's cues, adapting your approach as they grow and change, and creating a strong supportive bond that provides a secure base for exploration and growth.
And, you know, while we're talking about parental influence, I was intrigued by the discussion of Le Boyer's gentle birthing method.
Oh, yeah.
Which emphasizes minimizing trauma for the newborn.
It's an approach that challenges some traditional birthing practices.
It does.
Focusing on creating a calm and soothing environment for the baby's entry into the world.
Right.
While the research on its long-term effects is still somewhat inconclusive, it raises interesting questions about how those early experiences can shape a child's development.
It makes you wonder about all the subtle ways that we as adults can influence a child's journey, even from those very first moments of life.
And speaking of influential figures, these sources also introduce us to some of the pioneers who've shaped our understanding of child development. Like Alfred Binet, who developed the first intelligence test, and Arnold Gesell, who meticulously documented developmental norms.
Their contributions have been invaluable in advancing our knowledge. But it's important to remember that these norms are just averages. Every child is unique. And comparing them solely to statistical milestones can be misleading and even harmful.
I see.
It's essential to consider the whole child, their individual strengths and challenges, and the context in which they're developing.
It's about recognizing that development isn't a linear path.
It isn't.
It's a dynamic process, full of twists and turns. And each child navigates it in their own way.
And speaking of diverse paths, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the impact of media and technology on child development.
It's a topic that's generating a lot of discussion these days.
It is.
Especially as screens become increasingly ubiquitous in children's lives.
It's certainly a hot button issue.
It is.
One of the sources you provided dives into the world of children and computers, highlighting both the potential benefits and drawbacks of technology use.
On one hand, computers can be powerful tools for learning, fostering creativity, problem-solving skills, and even social interaction.
There's something about those interactive games and educational apps that can really capture a child's imagination.
I agree.
And make learning fun.
I've seen it firsthand with my own nephews.
Oh, really?
They get so engrossed in those educational games, they don't even realize they're learning.
Exactly.
Technology can open up a world of possibilities.
It can.
For exploration, discovery, and connection.
But as the source cautions, it's all about balance. Too much screen time can lead to physical problems like eye strain and sleep disturbances, as well as social and emotional challenges. If it replaces face-to-face interaction and active play.
It's about being mindful of how technology is used.
It is.
Setting limits and ensuring that it complements rather than dominates a child's life.
It's about finding that sweet spot where technology enhances rather than hinders a child's development.
And, you know, while we're talking about nurturing a child's mind, I can't resist mentioning one of my favorite topics.
Oh, really?
The power of reading.
Oh, I love that.
These sources really underscore the importance of reading aloud to children, even from infancy.
It's such a simple act.
It is.
But it has profound implications.
Reading aloud not only exposes children to new vocabulary and concepts, but it also fosters a love of language, strengthens their listening skills, and creates a special bond between reader and listener.
It does.
The sources even suggest that toddlers can identify more items through labeled reading.
Oh, really?
Pointing to pictures and naming them.
Yeah.
Than through regular conversation.
Interesting.
Like they're soaking up those words and images.
Yeah.
Building those neural connections that paves the way for language development.
It's remarkable.
And as their vocabulary grows, they start mimicking the language they hear.
Right.
Stringing together those adorable first sentences.
Yeah.
And embarking on their own storytelling adventures.
It's a beautiful transformation to witness.
It is.
And speaking of transformations, these sources don't shy away from another period of significant change, adolescence.
Right.
It's a time of rapid physical, emotional, and social development, often marked by both excitement and turmoil.
It's like they're navigating uncharted territory.
Right.
Trying to figure out who they are, where they fit in, and what their place in the world will be.
The sources highlight the concept of identity formation, that search for a sense of self that's unique and authentic.
It's a process that can be both exhilarating and daunting.
Absolutely.
Adolescents are grappling with questions of identity in all domains.
Yeah.
Career aspirations, personal values, relationships, gender identity, sexual orientation, all while their bodies are undergoing dramatic changes.
Of course.
And their brains are still developing.
It's no wonder it's often a time of intense emotions.
Yeah.
And sometimes even conflict.
It's like they're trying to reconcile all these different versions of themselves.
Yeah.
The person they were, the person they are.
Yeah.
And the person they hope to become.
Right.
And all of this is happening against the backdrop of increasing social pressures, academic demands, and the ever-present influence of peers and social media.
It's a lot to navigate.
It is.
And it's crucial that we as adults provide support and understanding during this time of transition.
The sources even touch on menarche. A girl's first menstrual period, which marks a significant milestone in her physical development.
It does.
But can also be a source of anxiety and uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that these physical transformations can have a profound impact.
They can.
On a teenager's self-esteem and body image. And it's essential that we create a space for open and honest conversations about these changes.
Absolutely.
It's about normalizing these experiences, providing accurate information, and dispelling myths and misconceptions that can create shame and confusion.
And speaking of navigating complex social landscapes, the sources also delve into the evolving nature of family dynamics, reflecting the diversity and fluidity of modern family structures.
We see the increasing prevalence of single-parent households, blended families, same-sex couples raising children, and multi-generational households where grandparents play a significant role in children rearing.
It's a far cry from the traditional nuclear family model that once dominated our understanding of family life.
It's a reminder that family isn't defined by a specific structure.
It isn't.
But by the love, support, and commitment that bind people together.
And within these diverse family structures, we see the different roles and responsibilities that parents, siblings, extended family members, and even close friends can play in a child's life.
The sources even highlight the unique contributions of grandparents who can provide wisdom, stability, and unconditional love, sometimes even stepping in as primary caregivers when circumstances require.
It's a testament to the strength and adaptability of families and the importance of those supportive networks that surround and nurture a child.
Right.
It's about recognizing that raising a child is often a communal effort.
It is.
And that it takes a village to provide the love, guidance, and support that children need to thrive.
And, you know, speaking of those supportive networks, I'm struck by how many of these sources emphasize the interconnectedness of all aspects of development. Physical, cognitive, social, emotional, and how they all influence one another. It's not just about isolated milestones or skills. It's about understanding how all these pieces fit together to shape the whole child.
That's a crucial point.
Development isn't a series of separate compartments.
It isn't.
It's a dynamic interplay of influences, experiences, and interactions.
The sources even delve into the impact of stress on child development.
Oh, wow.
Highlighting how different types of stress can affect children in different ways.
It's fascinating how those individual differences come into play.
They do.
For example, adolescent girls seem to be particularly vulnerable to interpersonal stress,
Right.
such as conflicts with friends or family,
Okay.
while boys might be more susceptible to academic or performance-related stress.
It underscores the importance of recognizing those individual vulnerabilities
Yes.
and providing support systems that address those specific needs.
It's not about shielding children from all adversity.
Right.
After all, stress is a part of life. But about equipping them with the coping mechanisms and resilience to navigate those challenges and bounce back from setbacks.
Absolutely.
It's about fostering that inner strength
Right.
that allows children to face adversity with courage, learn from their experiences, and emerge stronger on the other side.
And speaking of inner strength, I'm curious, who were the adults in your life who helped you develop resilience?
Oh, that's a good question.
Who were those mentors, those guides, those sources of unwavering support who believed in you even when you doubted yourself?
Those are powerful questions to ponder.
Reflecting on those influential figures in our lives can help us understand the profound impact that even seemingly small acts of kindness, encouragement, and belief can have on a child's trajectory.
It's a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference in the lives of children.
We do.
Whether we're parents, educators, mentors, or simply caring adults who cross paths with them along their journey.
And as we conclude part 2 of our deep dive, I'm struck by the sheer complexity and wonder of child development.
It's a messy, unpredictable, and endlessly fascinating process that never ceases to amaze me.
It truly is.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
And each child navigates it in their own unique way.
And that, I think, is what makes it so captivating.
But there's still so much more to explore.
There is.
In part 3, we'll delve into the world of play.
Okay.
Uncover the latest research on intelligence and learning styles, and tackle the controversial topic of corporal punishment.
Sounds good.
So, dear listener, stay tuned for the final chapter of our deep dive into child development. Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Okay.
We're on the final leg of our exploration into child development. And we've got some fascinating territory to cover today.
Okay.
From the world of play to the latest research on intelligence, and even a deep dive into the controversial topic of corporal punishment. Ready to wrap up this journey with me?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with something that might seem deceptively simple. Play.
Okay.
It's something we often associate with childhood. But these sources really highlight how crucial it is for development.
It really is.
It's not just about having fun. It's about learning, growing, and experimenting with the world.
Exactly. Play is how children make sense of their surroundings, develop social skills, and even work through emotional challenges.
I see.
The sources delve into different types of play, from solitary play, where kids are in their own little world, to parallel play, where they're side by side but not really interacting, and finally to cooperative play, where they're working together towards a common goal.
I see.
It's fascinating to see how these types of play evolve as children mature and their social skills blossom.
It reminds me of watching my niece grow up.
Okay.
At first, she was perfectly content stacking blocks by herself, lost in her own world. Then she started noticing what other kids were doing, kind of mimicking them, but not quite engaging. And finally, she started creating these elaborate, imaginary worlds with her friends, complete with roles, rules, and storylines. It was like watching her social skills unfold right before my eyes.
It's remarkable, isn't it? And it's not just about social development. Through play, children also develop their creativity, problem-solving abilities, and even their emotional regulation skills.
That's true.
Think about it. When kids engage in pretend play, they're often acting out different scenarios, trying on different emotions, and navigating those inevitable conflicts that arise in any social interaction. It's like a safe space to experiment and practice those essential life skills.
It's like a dress rehearsal for the real world.
Exactly.
And speaking of real-world challenges, one topic that these sources really make you think about is intelligence.
Intelligence,
For years, it was all about IQ scores. But it seems like we're moving towards a much more nuanced understanding of what intelligence actually is.
Absolutely.
The sources challenge that narrow view of intelligence, suggesting that it's not a single fixed entity, but rather a multifaceted tapestry of abilities.
I like that.
There are different types of intelligence, from linguistic and logical mathematical to spatial musical and interpersonal.
It's about recognizing that everyone has their own unique blend of strengths and talents.
It's like that old saying, there are many ways to be smart.
I love that.
And these sources even touch on the concept of learning styles.
Learning styles,
suggesting that children learn best through different modalities, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. It's about finding the approach that resonates with each child's unique way of processing information.
Exactly.
It's about moving away from a one-size-fits-all approach to education and embracing the diversity of learning preferences.
I agree.
Instead of forcing every child into the same mold, we need to create learning environments that cater to those individual strengths and help children discover how they learn best.
Absolutely.
It's about empowering children to become active participants in their own learning journey.
I love that idea.
And, while we're talking about creating positive learning environments, we can't shy away from a topic that's often met with strong opinions. Corporal punishment.
Corporal punishment,
It's a sensitive and often controversial issue.
Right.
But these sources provide some valuable insights into both the historical perspectives and the current research on physical discipline.
And it's clear that the tide is turning against corporal punishment.
Yeah.
Organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics have taken a firm stance against hitting children, citing the potential for physical and emotional harm.
And research has shown that corporal punishment is not an effective method of discipline.
No, it's not.
It might temporarily stop a behavior, but it doesn't teach children how to regulate their emotions or make better choices in the long run.
It can actually backfire, increasing aggression and leading to behavioral problems down the road.
That's a good.
It's a reminder that discipline isn't about punishment. It's about teaching, guiding, and setting clear boundaries with love and respect.
The sources suggest a shift towards positive discipline methods, which focus on helping children understand the reasons behind rules, involving them in decision-making, and providing positive reinforcement for desired behaviors.
It's a more respectful and empowering approach.
That recognizes children as individuals deserving of dignity and compassion.
It's about building a strong, healthy parent-child relationship based on trust, understanding, and mutual respect.
Well, dear listener, as we reach the end of our deep dive into child development, I'm filled with a sense of awe and wonder.
It's been an incredible journey, exploring the intricacies of how those tiny humans grow, learn, and navigate the complexities of the world around them.
It's a testament to the incredible adaptability and resilience of the human spirit.
And through it all, we've gained a deeper appreciation for the multifaceted nature of child development.
For sure.
It's not a linear path,
right,
but a dynamic process full of twists, turns, and surprises.
And that, I think, is what makes it so captivating.
Each child's journey is unique.
It is.
And there's always something new to discover, something more to learn, something to marvel at. It's an ongoing exploration. A constant unfolding of potential.
So, dear listener, as we conclude this episode, we encourage you to keep those sources handy. Keep those questions coming, and most importantly, keep observing. Keep learning. And keep appreciating the incredible journey of child development.
Absolutely.
It's a journey that touches us all.
It does.
Whether we're parents, educators, or simply fellow travelers on this amazing adventure called life.
I like that.
Until next time, happy diving.
Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Your support helps us keep creating valuable content